Empty offices, canceled rallies, internal warfare. This is what collapse looks like. They called it a revolution. He called it a counter-revolution. Now we're watching the collapse in real time. The party's over. The revolution begins.
The Democrats are cannibalizing themselves, and it's absolutely brutal. Victor Davis Hanson calls it the Trump counter-revolution. What we're witnessing is a total meltdown of the radical left. Fetterman just betrayed the mob by admitting Trump voters are not Nazis. Stephen A. Smith torching his own party on live TV. Even Kristi Noem stopped being polite. She straight up called Democrats communists, Marxists, and socialists. The party that preached unity and tolerance is tearing itself apart while Trump consolidates his power. Young men are fleeing the Democrats in droves, the establishment's in full panic, and what happened at that No Kings protest proves they've completely lost the plot. So buckle up. Now, the political establishment is crumbling, and I found something that actually builds instead of destroys. MedBed technology is now available for your home through red light therapy. Jonathan Otto showed me panels, and he gave me one, using 9 specific wavelengths with hospital-grade components. The transformation, my wife's chronic pain disappearing, her anxiety vanishing, my recovery beats guys half my age. Medical journals confirm 300% faster healing and brain regeneration. NASA researched it, FDA approved it, and now it's yours without clinical prices or wait lists. Visit myredlight.com. It's linked below. Use code NNN for the best deal available. Real world healing while their world burns. So I'm not sure if you saw this, definitely going viral. This is from Lindell TV.
Why did you refuse the National Guard on January 6th?
Shut up. I did not refuse the National Guard. The president didn't send it. Why are you coming here with Republican talking points as if you're a serious journalist?
The American people want to know. We still have questions.
Yes,
Why
go
did you
Allison.
refuse the National Guard.
Allison's been on fire today, or as of late at the Capitol. She's a White House correspondent for Lindell. And she's been confronting these folks on the Capitol steps. It's glorious. And this is just another moment where she hit AOC again. But that, of course, is triggering the memes. Even President Trump posting this on his Truth Social.
Nancy, why did you refuse the National Guard?
Shut up. You're not a serious journalist.
Nancy, why did you...
Oh, the memes write themselves. Victor Davis Hanson, though, he's on fire. The Trump counter-revolution. You'll want to bookmark this and share it. I love Victor Davis Hanson. Before we get to him, let's check in with President Trump, what he had to say. 6 hours ago, this was posted by Rapid Response 47. President Trump looks like having an exclusive interview on Sunday Morning Futures. Not sure where this was recorded. Could have been before he left for Mar-a-Lago. But he's back. He's back on Sunday. The Democrats, he writes, he says, the Democrats are kamikazes right now.
You gotta be kidding. The Democrats are kamikazes right now. They're kamikaze pilots right now. They have nothing going. They have no future. They have incompetent candidates. I mean, I looked at Crockett, Jasmine Crockett. She's a very low IQ person. She's polling okay in the Democrat Party. I can't even believe it. AOC I watched her the other day. It's like, you got to be kidding. This is not going to make our country great. And for us to have a communist mayor, it looks like we're going to in New York. He's not a socialist. He's a communist. And it'll be very interesting. The Democrats are kamikazes right now. They're kamikaze pilots right now. They have nothing
Kamikaze pilots. They have nothing. Victor Davis Hanson explaining the Trump counter-revolution.
More radical. And they call it the MAGA revolution. It's not a revolution. It is a counter-revolution. There's a big difference. This is a restoration. Let's use the word Trump restoration. We don't really appreciate what we've been through with 8 years of the Obama revolution and the 4-year more radical third term of Obama using or employing the waxen effigy of Joe Biden. A revolution that we've experienced was a cultural, economic, political, social evolution. It was very similar to the French Revolution under the Robespierre brothers. We should remember what they tried to do. They changed the days of the week. They renamed things. They tore down statues. They went after the church. Does this sound familiar? This revolution that we've experienced, everything was up for sale. Everything was negotiable. We invented a third gender and rammed it down people's throats. We tore down statues. We said 1776 was no longer the foundational date. It was 1619. We changed the very mechanism that we vote. We went from 70% of the electorate voting on election day to 70% of the electorate not doing that, either through mail-in or early voting. That was a radical change that had no discussion. It was done by fiat. It was incredible. We looked at girls' sports and we destroyed it. We said that transgendered biological males that were now transgendered females could compete. They won over 600 medals they took away from hardworking female athletes. We had drag shows among young children. It was an effort to change the entire Constitution. We forget that. They were trying to bring in Puerto Rico as a state and Washington, D.C. to get 4 instant senators. They were proud. They said that they were going to pack the Supreme Court. It hadn't been tried since 1937. And it was a object of disgrace ever since, but they were proud to try it again. They talked about making states, the Senate look like the House. They wanted, and a lot of them were advocating it was not fair that one senator in Wyoming, to take one example, is worth 250,000 votes, but a senator in California represented 20 million. They wanted to change the makeup of the Senate. They wanted to get rid of the Senate filibuster. Remember that. They wanted to bring back neo-Confederate nullification. 600 jurisdictions in the manner of South Carolina in 1832 are on the edge of the Civil War in 1860 when neo-Confederate Southern states said the federal government's law does not apply to us. Tariffs, Yankee tariffs, no, we were going to override them. Andrew Jackson almost invaded the Carolinas over that, South Carolina. And so these jurisdictions said, federal law doesn't apply here. We're exempt. We have our own laws. Federal immigration law does not apply here. It applies everywhere else to you, but not to us. So this was a revolutionary movement. Movies were different. Sports were different. Take a knee. And Donald Trump came in, and it was not sufficient to say we're going to stop the madness of $37 billion. We're going to stop the madness of being short 40 or 50,000 military recruits because of this DI, coupled with the humiliation in Kabul. We're going to stop the appeasement of China. But that wasn't all. He said, the government is broke. We're going to go through all of these agencies. And finally, for the first time in the history of this country, when somebody says they're going to cut federal spending and drain the swamp or cut the administrative, we're going to do it. And there's going to be no changing names except to go back to traditional names. And we're not going to topple statues. And if you break the law and you're on campus and you're on a student visa, you're going to go back home. So we're in the midst of a counter-revolution. It's not revolutionary. You know what it is? It's a return to normalcy. Yep. It's a return to common sense. It only looks revolutionary to revolutionaries. But to the rest of the people, it is a counter-revolution to restore normalcy and bring the country from the far left fringes back home again.
Oh, man. Dude, he is so awesome. Totally spot on. Continuing to document the destruction of their own party. Disgraced Attorney General candidate in Virginia, Jay Jones, was pressing why voters should trust someone with such poor moral character. His response: I was held accountable by my party, and I'm going to prosecute Trump because he's bad and he's orange. This is 48 hours ago.
Used incendiary. Why should voters trust your judgment moving forward? Well, look, Brett, I want to say one thing. Jason Miyares can't prosecute a case against Donald Trump, that's for sure. And I will also say this. I was held accountable by my party, and I deeply, deeply respect that. But what about when Donald Trump used incendiary language to incite a riot to try to overturn an election here in this country? What about when Winsome Sears used violent language about people who disagree with you and her and your extreme position on abortion? What about when John Reed shared Nazi porn? You haven't said a word. I've taken accountability for my mistakes. It's time you take accountability too.
And let me ask you this one more time, Delegate Jones, just so we're clear and the voters understand, why do you think they should trust your judgment based upon these two events that we've discussed?
I've taken accountability for my mistakes, and I know that people in Virginia right now demand and deserve leaders who accept when they make mistakes and can acknowledge that and have been held accountable.
Yeah, well, the mistake you made was sending text messages calling for the death of your opponent in quite graphic description, too. So, yeah, you've been held accountable? No, you're still standing there. Oh, and now we have this. Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand? This narrative perpetuates endless divisiveness and victimhood. This is on the Piers Morgan Show.
Racist to me. Now you can respond.
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Are you kidding me?
Sorry?
That makes no sense.
Sorry?
Black women cannot be racist to white women. Do you not understand that?
Oh, yes, they can.
You don't have the intellectual
capacity
to understand that.
Oh, yes, they
that's
can.
Very much
and you've been
impossible.
racist to me.
That's very much impossible.
You've been racist to me, a white man, by saying I'm a race baiter. Yeah.
How am I racist to you? I'm black. I can't be racist to you.
You call me a race baiter with no evidence.
Racist to me.
When have I been a race baiter?
You could be racist to me.
When have I been a race baiter?
But I'm a powerhouse.
Tell me when I've been a race baiter.
I'm a powerhouse.
Well, you may be a powerhouse.
I understand something.
You may be a powerhouse. You may be a powerhouse.
Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
I want to admit that.
When have I been a race baiter?
Okay.
When have I been a race baiter?
Okay.
This is absurd.
No, hang on. Tell me.
Honey.
Blossom, give me one example of me race baiting. Blossom, go.
I'm here. At this point, I'm just here to talk about trans women in sports. I said what I said.
So you don't have anything, do you?
Repeat anything.
You called me a race baiter. Now you can respond.
Black women cannot be racist too.
Is that a trans person? That was my initial thought right out the gate. And I think they confirmed that on top of their rhetoric. Bill Hemmer, there are some believe that the Supreme Court in favor of Louisiana, the GOP could gain 19 House seats. Do you see this as reasonable? John Yoo says it's possible.
More House seats. A New York Times, a Supreme Court case that could hand the House to Republicans. There are some who believe if the court rules as you're describing there, John, that the GOP could gain 19 more House seats. Do you see that as reasonable?
It's possible. I am sure the justices, when they decide this case, don't care and won't look at what the effects on the midterm maps may be. Now, what's been going on, note, is that these states, in order to create these majority-minority districts, have done what's called crack and pack. They've packed minority voters into tight districts on the assumption they'll vote for a black or Hispanic or even Asian candidate, which I think, by the way, is offensive because it assumes that people of one race will vote for people of the same race when they vote for office. What will happen, I think, if this practice ends, is that there will be more minorities spread out into more districts. That might make more districts competitive in the long run between Republicans and Democrats, even though in the short run, it might lead to less Democrats in the House in the next election.
What if I argued the other side and said, if I'm a minority, how do I find representation under that interpretation of the law then?
Well, this, I think, is the pernicious view of the Voting Rights Act and the 15th Amendment that this cause has adopted, is the idea that because I have a skin color or you have a skin color, Bill, you think you're only represented by people who look like you. What if you want to be represented by people who share your interests instead? Suppose I want to vote for someone who has my view on tax policy or foreign affairs or...
Dude, if that happens, holy cow. 19 more House seats. Damn. Meanwhile, the fall of New York City is in play.
Funniest thing.
think Mom Donnie is practicing takia.
1,000%. 1,000%.
He's presenting
the
as
Muslims are laughing at you guys. Like this is the funniest thing. Like, dude, give it 50 more years, entire New York's gonna be Muslim, and then before you know, it's gonna be Sharia courts, and then like y'all are. It's like it's like shooting yourself in the foot. Like I can't even believe. And like you see Europe, you look at Europe, it's happening right now, and then you're like, oh, let's just do it here in New York. Like it's like no, like you have to stop. Like obviously takia is working. And they're doing an amazing job at it, and they're fooling everyone. Like, and all the Muslims are like so happy that's happening. Like, this is the best thing that could happen in Islam, and he's gonna win because we're too stupid. Like, no matter how many times ex-Muslims will say takia is a real thing, they are lying to you. They will take over within 100 years. No one's gonna listen because
New York is finished if that guy gets into office. Cameron Kinsley talking about the fallout of third wave feminism. Women were promised liberalism but got emptiness instead.
And, we grew up on feminism at the forefront of this. And, while first and second wave feminism really just fought for equal rights and opportunities, this third wave feminism that we've seen has told the lie to women that the path of empowerment means rejecting, traditional values entirely. And, here's the fallout of that. This is celebrating hyper independence. It's celebrating sexual liberation that we've seen without consequences. They're suspicious of family life, especially marriage and motherhood, which are amazing blessings. They've rebranded this as inherently limiting or regressive. And so we want to be a better role model for these women. We want better representation. Girls and women are craving to stand for something bigger than themselves. We grew up on Sex and the City. Call Her Daddy, like we noted in that video, is the #1 podcast for women right now. Sex and the City taught women to chase their careers and casual relationships, not, connecting with community by any means. And, Call Her Daddy, it's the same message. It's packaged a little bit different. That success is, measured in hyper independence, sexual expression, self-obsession. And, women are done with that. We're seeing the fallout of this in society where anxiety rates have increased, depression has increased. Women are feeling more alone now more than ever. So we're really just here today to be a better representation and better role model for women as a whole. We grew up.
Another symptom of the fall of the Democrat Party. Signs of fascism. Liberals protest the Trump administration by holding up fascist signs. Ironically, they all describe the Democrat Party. Controlling media, normalizing corruption, projecting election results, controlling education, using military and civilians appointment, putting incompetent loyalists. Rewriting history. Wow. Talk about projection. Wow. They are completely out to lunch, man. Trump broke the Democrat Party. Here is Caroline Leavitt calling the Democrat Party what it is.
Legal aliens proved that the Democrat Party's main constituency are made up of Hamas terrorists, illegal aliens, and violent criminals. That is who the Democrat Party is catering to, not the Trump administration and not the White House and not the Republican Party, who is standing up for law-abiding Americans, not just across the country, but around the world. And not.
Where's Stephen A. Smith? Where's that clip of Stephen A. Smith? Kamala. Sheesh. Oh, here it is. This is Stephen A. Smith. Destroys the Democrat Party.
People still said, here's the deal. The man was impeached twice. He was convicted on 34 felony counts. And the American people still said, he's closer to normal than what we see left.
Yep. That's why the American people voted for him. The attacks were clear. They were all fake.
That's what they're saying. He's closer to normal. Why? Because something that pertains, when you talk about the transgender community, for example, and you're talking about the issues that pertain to less than 1% of the population, the Democratic Party came across as if that was a priority more so than the other issues. And so he comes into office. Now you're talking about childbirth, citizenship, and what have you. He knows that's not going to pass the mustard, but he knows that he made that promise. So when he shows up week 1 on Capitol Hill and he says, this is what we're going to do through an executive order, even though it's going to be shot down through the courts and what have you, he's saying, I kept my promise. A lot of other things that he's going to point to that he's going to try to do. I kept my promise. Then you turn around and you look at the left and you say, what promises did you keep? Now, you might know the answer to that. I'm certainly not questioning your knowledge about that at all. What I'm saying is what resonated with the voter. What voter out there can look at the Democratic Party at this moment in time and say, there's a voice for us, somebody that speaks for us, that goes up on Capitol Hill and fights the fights that we want them fighting on our behalf. They didn't do that. And that's why their behinds are home, and that man is back into the White House, and they want to sit up there and talk. You look at the networks right now, they're talking about, look at it, this is the latest, look at him, here he goes again. Well, you know what here he goes again means? He's doing what he said he was going to do.
Wow.
He promised you he was going to do these things, and he walked into office week 1, and that's exactly what he's doing. And he's saying, y'all do something about it. And when you try to do something about it, he's going to say, look at them now. Now they're concerned about these issues. Were they talking about that during the campaign? Hell no.
Boom! If you got value from this report, tap subscribe. My final thought is next. So this is what political extinction looks like. The Democrat Party isn't just losing, it's devouring itself from within. When Fetterman admits Trump voters aren't fascists, when Stephen A. Smith demolishes his own side, when lifelong liberals walk away in disgust, that's not normal political turnover. That's a mass awakening. Trump didn't just win an election, he triggered a counter-revolution that's exposing every lie, every hypocrite, every Marxist hiding behind the Democrat label. They called us deplorable, irredeemable, fascist. Now they're calling each other out. Young men are fleeing their party because AOC lectures them about toxic masculinity, while real men are building families and futures. The kamikaze Democrats, as Trump perfectly named them, are crashing into reality. No message, no future, and no clue. Just rage against an America that's moved on without them. So here's the question for you. Is the Democrat Party beyond saving at this point? Drop a yes or no. Let's have a conversation. Make sure you grab some gear from our merch shop. It is linked down in the description.